There is strength in vulnerability and vulnerability in strength. Hey, hi, Angel here. Thanks for stopping by. I'm driving up to Colorado on one of my very favorite stretches of road. Up here on 550 approaching Cuba, New Mexico. And I was marveling at all these geologic structures, all this erosion due to wind and water, and thinking about how it's the very strength of a mountain that causes it to be eroded by the wind and the water, and it's the passiveness of the wind and the water which allow them to be so strong and damage the mountain. Of course, there's value in both. I'm not trying to put one over the other. I'm just pointing out that in nature, and we are part of nature, there's a time to be vulnerable and there's a time to be strong. And over time, vulnerability, water and wind wins out, I think. I think rigidity, the mountain, crumbles eventually. With time, it's really the water and the wind that's crumbling it, right? Of course, put us out in outer space like we are, and my perspective starts to fall apart a little. I'm aware of that. Still, the analogy works for me, which is, especially like in business lately, I've been encouraged by one of my mentors to tell my own personal story more often, which is funny to me because I feel like I'm kind of always just documenting my personal story and telling my personal story. However, in speaking with her, I really realized that I haven't been sharing the details of my personal stories so much. I've been sharing the goings on of my personal story sometimes as it's happening, and I've been sharing the after effect, my conclusions after going through a lot of my story. I haven't shared as much of my story yet as I will in the future. And all that is to say that we relate to each other through stories, right? So me telling you that I find strength in vulnerability might sound kind of true, it might not. And if I tell you a story, I give you an example of how for example, in my business, this is kind of maybe a lame example, but it's just what came to mind. So in business, for example, when I make a mistake, like say I ship one item instead of two, this happened to me just the other day, where somebody ordered two of the same item and I accidentally only shipped one. And I could look at that as a mistake, as something wrong. It is a mistake, but I could look at it in such a way that it brings me down, or I can actually use that as one of those moments of strength and vulnerability. And instead, I can contact them and say, because of an error that I made, you didn't get what you ordered, and so therefore I'm going to make it right. I'm going to make it up to you. So that was kind of a lame example. I'm going to have to think of better examples, and anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there. I'd love to hear your examples if you got some. Help me out. Tell me what are some of the times when you've allowed yourself to be vulnerable and in that gained strength. I find that's true most in relationships, all human relationships, because we admire vulnerability in each other. We relate to it. And then other times, when have you found weakness in your being powerful? That's kind of the flip side of the same thing, isn't it? Anyhow, I'm entering Cuba. I'm going to stop and get a snack. I wish you peace, prosperity, positivity, potential, and playfulness. Oh yeah, and pretty skies.